So much is thrown away that's cool. And everything is made initially by someone. Even if it's the steel, or if it's there's people that are in the knitting needle factory or the sandpaper factory or something. So I think for me, it's the finding something new, disassembling, then reassembling something new, while remembering that someone else has already touched everything I've touched.
There's some room here. There's some room.
So,
Hi, I'm c.l.Bigelow. This is my work. These are the bases of the candlesticks. That's the lid to a film developer canister. Those are the pieces on a 1910 Royal typewriter that helped hold the keyboard up. The beauty of the old typewriters, this is what they do. Everything was painted and finished. That's an old Indian candlestick, and then just started playing with some of the beads and the antique hat pins. And then another candlestick cup holder, table part. That's the metal part came out of a computer. That's a little bonsai saucer and a grinder wheel and rusty washer type thing. That is part of the same 200-year-old spinning wheel with washing line pulleys. That I thought that part looked a little bit like a giant clothespin, an old wooden clothespin. And so I thought it would be appropriate to put the washing line pulleys on it. Stuck turquoise beads into the two holes that the wormwood ate through. None of this was doing anything in my studio, just sitting there, so I thought I'd disassemble and then reassemble. What I do is I pile, and then I let them sit for a month or two, and then I disassemble and reassemble and just keep going until I'm not bothered by it anymore. Everything on the table will go into making the stupa, yes. They'll go from big to little, they'll stack. And then put the center rod in. Center rod goes straight up, but I make sure everything fits. And I love old records because I've already got the holes drilled in them. When Buddha died, he was so well loved that they cut him up into grains of rice-sized pieces. And they built stupas. They built places of worship around the rice-sized piece of Buddha. And Angkor Wat and that whole stupas. So every one of those has something that's special to me, either inside it or a piece that's on it. And when people buy it, I tell them what that is. This is a scale. You stand on a scale and the old with the dome, that's what this is inside. This was on the crankshaft. And so I'm not sure whether it was what it was, whether it was the sewing machine or something else. I don't have a clue. Went with the telephone. No idea. Peanut butter lids, vitamin lids, cold cream lids. Some are just nice and dark. Some are thought out for colors. Oops. This is my favorite one. All the analogous colors, just very glowing. These are old swim lane line buoys. I helped with the drown proofing that the county puts on for 5th graders. For years, I was one of the parent volunteers. And it pisses me off that so many children don't know how to swim and so many children drown. Drowning is the leading cause worldwide of children death under 14. So there are 52 boxes, one for each week. Every day, 10 children drown. There's 21 of these. in each box. So look at one of these. This many children have died. Yeah, per week. Black is the color of mourning. So every child should know how to swim, should have the opportunity to swim. So it's been a frustration. Yeah. So when these came along, it was, okay, I know what I'm going to do, just how am I going to do this? I wanted something that was there but quiet. So that's why everything is black, because drowning is quiet. It's, if you can yell, you're not drowning. You're in distress, but you're not drowning. So Cass McGowan and I made this together for an installation in Cockeysville back in December. And we wove it, we hooked it like you would hook a rug. And she's left-handed, I'm right-handed, so we'd both start on opposite sides and meet in the middle until we made the whole thing. And it's the size of a bale of straw, 18 by 18 by 36. And we had it hanging from the ceiling in a horse stall. It dangled down, came down like that, and then we piled straw and bordered with chopped leaves and straw, and then piled a pile of straw underneath it so it met in the middle. Like this is based on wren nests, because the wrens they'll build with anything and just keep going and add on top of from year to year. So this might be the initial nest, but it's on 2 or 3 years worth in a box or in a cavity. And some of them are just for fun. I mean, how small can I go with a champagne baling wire? A friend gave me hundreds of hangers, and I had to figure out what to do with hundreds and hundreds of wire hangers. She'd had a fire at her house. And so I thought and said, okay, make a bird nest.
Those are hangers?
No, this was the prototype to see if I liked it.
I see.
So then I proceeded to cut all the hangers and wrap all the hangers, and I will never do that again. I stuck to more forgiving things like electric conduit and wire. So some of them, and then playing with fire to see what they would look like if I flamed them. This one was, how much can I get in? It was the friend gave me the conduit, and it was, how massive can I make this? Sometimes they're aesthetic choices, sometimes it's experimenting to see, like that one was the first time I ever used strips of inner tube. How can I make that work? That one was for a women in the arts. So did the stereotypical, what is a stereotypical woman's tool, which is knitting needles, sewing machine, there's sewing machine parts in there, typewriter parts. So that was for that exhibition. And then some of them are just because I feel like making a nest. I wanted to see how much copper I could get into a piece. So I have track lighting pieces, I have refrigerator water lines, toilet water lines, piping from renovations. My neighbors give me piping, copper screening. And there's some stuff that isn't copper. I mean, like there's a star drill, so if I ever want to split rock, I have a star drill, and the spring from a tape measure and a bandsaw. I like the bandsaw. When I get stuck on something, or if I finished a big project and have to breathe or decompress, I'll get an egg, crack it, and then paint it. Give myself 45 minutes to paint it. So those are I call them my doodles. I don't have the obsession with the painting that I do with finding the objects and finding disassembling or assembling and reconnecting and making something new or interesting. Yes, I care whether I sell or not. It would be nice to sell everything. No, the market doesn't influence me in that if I only made what sold, I think for me that would be soul sucking. I would be so bored. Because I think after a while, I know, after a while when I've mastered something, it's not fun anymore. I need to have the surprises. I need to have the good or bad, not always the emergency room to sew something up surprises, but those aren't always fun. But oh, so this is how this does, or this is how it gets disassembled. I honestly think it helps. Not just me, I think it helps people. It helps connect people.